That's without the stack, so it's just sort of coming out. That's getting about 3 volts to the fan, so it seems like, you know, I'd like a little more juice to the fan. No, 5 volts. It's getting 5 volts, which is pretty good, frankly, yeah. 5 volts is good. And 6 volts on the new heater coil with the new packing technique. So I think with the stack on it, that is going to shoot up pretty good. I had one laying around, but I don't really want to go away and get it. Pretty good. And you can crank that up. You can see you get pretty good pulse. And then at high speed it just goes. Now I don't have the electronics hooked up. I don't have the thermistor to control the heat. It's just running on this, whatever the 6 volts gives it, that's what it's going to run on. I'm going to unplug everything now so I can explain the hookup. Here's a pencil so nothing gets damaged. Okay, I'm running off a USB port on my PC just to get the voltage, because I think yesterday I ran the battery down. I'm doing so much testing. The other thing I'm doing is traipsing across here from a transformer that was plugged in, and it was set on midway, so we're getting, you know, 7, 8, maybe 10 volts coming in. This is a rectifier. This converts AC to DC. This is DC coming out. This is a rectifier. This is a regulator. I know they're different. This is a buck boost. So if it gets enough amps, it can regulate to whatever you set it to. And I set it to about 6 volts. It wasn't 8, and this thing was smoking me out. Cranked it down, got to 6, down, a little too low, put it back. I think it's 6.5, and it seemed to be about right. 6.5 is what you were seeing. Now I've got it just clamped right into the heater, so it's getting 6 volts straight without any manipulations. Okay, and the fan is running off of the sensor transistor in the board. This is in the puff and chuff assembly board, and the chuff sound you saw with that little speaker, and we still have our other sounds, and that's how this was working. Remember the breadboard yesterday? I showed you how I got this sensor working now. Well, I didn't even try that, did I? It's not plugged in. Let's try that. Yeah. What? There we go. Yeah, okay. Now we plug in this. Then we plug in this again. See all these power sources you have to deal with? It's just crazy. Here we go. It should be warming up. Here we go. It's warming up. It shouldn't have to warm up so much though. Everywhere I touch, my tools get grabbed by a magnet. Let me see if I can turn this on with one hand. I can't. I'm too inept. Nope, I can't. A little bit. Let's see if that helped. A little better. So that is with the infrared thing we tried yesterday. That means if I had that motor running off my power supply and this was wired to the, if this was bolted up to the wheel with the star, this would be working. There you go. I can crank up the voltage and get more smoke. I just did it. You saw it. I can do it again. Okay, that's it. That's where we are. Okay, so I would say, and this is 6.5 volts right now. So, you know, 6.5 volts, even on this material, which is not my favorite, I would go to a carbon fiber impregnated PETG, which is a capable hot heater, higher heat. I'm so excited. But this guy with the new design, you can see the shape is more ovalated, if you could say that. It's wider. And the heater that I have in there is an 8 ohm, which is low ohms, which means it will not take a lot of volts to get hot. It'll get hot with low voltage, and that's what I wanted. And the way I've assembled it with the angel hair combination, I unplug things now. Angel hair with a combination of rock wool is the trick, and I soak it and assembled it, and it seems to work well, and it will fill the same way. You put the oil in here and it'll drizzle down because that's on a ramp. I designed that in, and I think we're really close. I got the basic elements of what I need for smoke. Now what I'm going to do is go ahead and assemble this electronics, which allows us to vary the heat based on temperature, and the temperature will vary based on the fan speed. So the more chuffs, the cooler this is going to get. And what we want to do is just give that a little touch more voltage, maybe a half a volt, maybe a volt is all I'm going to be adjusting. And I think we're going to be able to dial this in for real good smoke at low speed and high speed. And that's the idea. And all the puff and chuff with the remote trigger, blah blah blah. And I had a new idea, a new potential enhancement. I was reading the code on this thing this morning and last night. We have 2 more sounds that we can add, anything we want. And I'm thinking of adding a platform announcement, all aboard. And then a second sound I'm thinking about adding is the shoveling of coal for the steam engines. That shoveling coal sound. Not a very good sound, but anyway, you'll hear it. You may hear it. If I can figure out a way to do the buttons for those sounds that are remote, like on the track or something, I'll let you know what I come up with. And I think it could come about. We'll see. All right, more later. It's almost lunchtime, 1 o'clock, and I'm going to assemble this board up and go on to the next step. We now have our basic components: 6 volts, 3 volts. Actually, it was more like 2 volts to the fan. After it came through all this, 5 volts is to this, 2 volts is coming out. But at any rate, I will be back later.